Welcome back to another episode of Health Hacks as I continue my year in review of health hacks. And today we're talking about setting healthy boundaries and focusing on some of my March episodes. Boundaries are a way of protecting our energy, our time, our mental health, because when we aren't protecting our energy and our time, we can start to feel overwhelmed, and that can create stress, anxiety, etc. And so when we learn to create boundaries, we are protecting all of these things. And boundaries are a way of setting limits on our work hours, using our calendar to set limits on how often we're helping others, being able to say no to extra obligations, because when we say no to others, we're actually saying yes to ourselves. And in society, we're so often taught that, help everybody, and we want to help everybody, except that we can't serve from an empty cup. And so there has to come a time when we learn to say no. And I know that's difficult. I've had to go through that process myself. And the first time I said no, it felt so weird because my brain was like, what are you doing? You could do this event with your eyes closed and your hands tied behind your back. And it felt uncomfortable because it wasn't something that I did. However, I knew that I had to practice saying no. And then each time I said no, it became easier. And in saying no, I was creating space in my calendar so that I could look after me. We also want to be creating tech-free zones in our day. Is that, for 30 minutes before bed? Is it for the first hour of your day? I talked about that 2 episodes ago. So that we're not always scrolling and just responding to other people. Instead, we're choosing how we want to spend our time and being really focused on spending the time the way that we've intentionally chosen to spend it. Boundaries aren't about being closed off to other people. Boundaries are about creating space for yourself and keeping yourself safe. And it's about self-respect for self. So I want to encourage you to set one small boundary in your life this month. Whenever you are listening to this episode, create a small boundary to start creating time for yourself. One of the first boundaries I started putting in my calendar was time for me to get in my workouts, whatever that was for me on any given day. Maybe it was going to the gym. Maybe it was going to yoga. Maybe it was going outside paddleboarding or for a walk. Putting the time in and putting a label on what I was going to do with that time so that I didn't get to that time and then start thinking about it and waste half the time choosing. I already knew what I was going to do so I could then get ready and go do it. So if you would like to dive into this more, you can check out the Amplify Impact Academy training sessions because we actually teach this in our training sessions. And also you can go back and check out some previous episodes that I've done here on Health Hacks, episodes 445 to 454 focused on stress. Episodes 391 and 394 were focusing on maintaining mental balance. And so checking those out will give you some tips that you can implement easily into your life. And if you have any questions or would like more support around this, please feel free to reach out, Melissa@yourguidedhealthjourney.com.